Hello everyone, welcome back to Flying Solo with Kat. Are you shocked that I'm making an Outlaws video? I've been thinking about this video for a long time. Was I going to make it? Was I going to have the opportunity to play the game? And how fast would it take me? I know I did not upload a video last week and I did not post anything. I thankfully was able to finally meet with some friends that I have been friends with for 5 years. I am a gamer. I hate saying that, but I do play video games quite a lot. It is one of my favorite things to do, and I am, of course, part of a kind of a team, a group, and I tend to play with them a lot. So they actually came out down to Cali, which is where I am, and we got to spend a couple days together. Went down to Disney, stayed a little bit at Galaxy's Edge. That was really fun as a Star Wars fan to kind of see them do that. And as well as I went to the Warner Brothers studio tour, which even though I'm a resident here, I've never done, and that was such an amazing opportunity. So I've been really busy. I have not just been trying to catch up playing Star Wars Outlaws, but at the same time meeting with friends I've never met before and trying to catch up on just life and work and all of that fun, terrible stuff. So, thank you all for keeping with me. I know I should post updates, but by the time I remember it, it's already like 2 days late. So, I never think there's a point. But let's go ahead and talk about Star Wars Outlaws. There's a lot I want to cover in this video. If you've not played the game and you want no spoilers, first I'm going to talk about, is the game worth it without any spoilers? Is it worth that $70 price tag? And then I will go ahead and get into story, spoilers, what I thought. I went into this game knowing absolutely nothing. Nothing was spoiled to me, maybe besides one dialogue sequence with Kira, but overall, nothing really was spoiled to me, especially the thing that once I saw it, I thought I was going to get spoiled on was not. So I will let you guys know when I'm going to be talking about spoilers, but why did you click on this video, right? Is the game worth it? And that's what I'm going to be answering right now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So I was lucky enough to have a friend that had already bought Star Wars Outlaws and let me go ahead and try it. Do a couple of the things, finish up the story. Overall, I spent about 40 hours, roughly 40 hours on the game. I did a couple side quests. I built my repertoire with the syndicates and also finished the story. I have completed the story in full. I have not completed the game. Those are two different things, which is, again, what I'll talk about in a little bit. There's a lot of content. There is a lot of content for you to do, especially story-wise. There are many things that I thought was going to be quicker, and it ended up probably taking about 2 hours to get through, especially the ending. They take their time. There's a lot of things you can collect, a lot of people you can meet. And if you've never played an open world game, this is kind of it for you. I think of it as Baldur's Gate. There's a lot of different things to do, and your choices matter. How you complete missions, how you basically do jobs for other people matters in the sense of, do you want them to hate you or not? And how you answer is different as well, in either continuing the conversation or ending it right there. And sometimes you can get things out of it, sometimes you can't. Overall, $70 is a lot for a game, and it's unfortunate that this kind of seems to be the basis of how much games are nowadays, which is sad. I know the Jedi games were around $60, which again, those are not open world, those are just story based. But those games also have a lot of content in them. Those games have a lot of cutscenes and are very story oriented, and you know what you're getting. Ubisoft is a mixed bag when it comes to games. I've only played a couple of their titles. I'm currently been playing X Defiant, which is a 6v6 kind of PvP where you play different game modes and you have different weapons. Think of COD, but with Ubisoft titles. Um, so Ubisoft is a mixed bag when it comes to quality, but I could proudly say that the quality is amazing here. The cutscenes are great. The cinematography kind of how the game looks is damn beautiful. I was honestly really shocked at the graphics of it, even though the water was complained about. Uh, it still looks beautiful. The planets that you go to are creative, and even though some of them you already probably know of, they're still different. And there's still places, besides one of them, that you really haven't been before. And it's like you are there in Star Wars. And that's the immersion I was wanting to feel, and they did not disappoint. For the entire Syndicate gameplay, I again won't get into spoilers, but there is a lot you could do for them and a lot of opportunities you gain. Just to kind of run over the Syndicate process, you have very bad, bad, good, excellent, and max. Now, if you get excellent and good, you get extra prices on things. You can go places that you won't get fined for trespassing. Now, if you get bad or very bad, then they could put death marks on you and they can have people hunt you, and you'll have to do a lot more fighting in those territories. And it's a lot harder to get into those territories without being shot at. I unfortunately found that out the hard way. So you really want to play goody goody with a lot of syndicates, but there's also a lot of choices that can, lead you to make harder decisions when it comes to syndicates. And I found that gameplay piece really new and really interesting. So it's not really something I've ever seen in a game before. Granted, I haven't played much open world games. These are not my type of games, but I fell in love with this. I'm more, when it comes to kind of online shooter games, even with Battlefront 2, I enjoy the story mode, but it's not a big seller for me. Overall, I would say if open world is your thing, if you love Star Wars lore, which I know if you're here, then I'm going to assume yes, and you are interested in having a non Jedi protagonist, I would say get it. I would say it's worth it. Don't break the bank over it. I'm definitely, for me personally, on my device, I do still want the game just to have it. Um, but I will be waiting till Black Friday or even Christmas, and hopefully that price will go down. It is kind of sad to me that I hope they realize that this game is really good and that people really like this game and these characters, but that price tag is not doing it favors, because I have seen online of huge Star Wars fans that I follow and them being asked, "Oh, well, have you bought the game yet?" And them saying, "Nope, I haven't bought the game yet, kind of waiting till it goes down." So I think once that price goes down, a lot of people are going to buy it and a lot of people are going to start talking about it, which is really exciting. So overall, it's your decision. If you like open world, if you like playing video games, sitting down for hours on end to play, and you have that type of time, buy it. Do it. I promise you won't be disappointed. Now let's go ahead and talk about story. This is where we'll get into spoilers about characters, story, major story beats. So please, 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 if you haven't played, I don't want to spoil it for you. Pause the video, go buy it, play it, and then come back. Okay, so let's just start with Kay Vess as a character in general. Humberly Gonzalez is who voices her and who, of course, does the mocap for her, and she is amazing. I was really concerned that I wasn't going to like her character. She very much is presented as a Han Solo type. Now, Han Solo works mainly because Harrison Ford is an amazing actor, but with those characters, it comes the fine line of okay, are they too annoying? Are they too pretentious? You know, who is this? And Kay Vess as a character, I really connect with, honestly. She thinks that she kind of has it all together, but at the same time, she knows the stakes of what she's getting into, as well as she cares about the people that she loves, no matter what happened to her in her past. Major mommy issues, that's all I will say. Um, she still continues on and saying, like, well, I don't need anyone. And then she starts to meet some colorful characters and connects with them. And that I feel is really special. Again, one of the things that drew me to this game was it was not a Jedi protagonist. Y'all know me. I've talked about this before many times. I'm very sick of the Jedi. Even the Sith, which I'll get into a little bit, I'm a little kind of done with. I want to focus more on characters who don't have the Force that are still living in this galaxy. That's what interests me in the Star Wars universe. It's why I like so much of the Imperials, is because they don't have the Force. They are this government that is trying to control space while the rebellion is kind of festering. Again, I love the rebellion as well. The characters, especially in this game, the rebel characters, I loved. One of my honestly probably favorite characters was Asara, who was a male Twi'lek who was in the rebellion and joined Kay's crew and unfortunately got his back stabbed. But Kay ended up helping him for the rebellion. And the rebellion is treated really, really good in this game, which again, the Empire is treated really, really good in this game. It's giving me Andor vibes to where Kay is immediately betrayed by the rebels. It's a misunderstanding, but she sees it as betrayal in the first kind of set that you're in this game. So her entire kind of outlook on the rebels is you guys just, you know, don't think about yourselves, you think about others, which kind of makes Kay sound bad, but it makes sense, right? I mean, the rebels are fighting for a cause bigger from them, and they always ask and ask and ask of what they can take, and they never kind of stop to consider, like, they have enough. And Kay, you know, brings that to them, but then also realizes that the Empire is way worse and does the same exact thing as she sees with our main villains. We get two villains, Slero and Jalen. So, overall, these characters are great. I connected with them so much. Nyx as well, totally connected with. And how the game treats them is very real. Again, thank you for not doing another Jedi game. I loved. Okay, that's a lie. I liked the combat in this game. You had a lot of cool gun gameplay, which kind of made for some cool moments, as well as you sneaking around was very much kind of in your face of like what you should do. When it came to gun gameplay, that was kind of like last resort, and it was more kind of doing little mini puzzles. And I didn't mind that. Normally, I play 6v6 shooters. I tend to just want to shoot and go in to the fight and get it over with. But with this game, it really made me think of, okay, I really need to sneak around this, because if I wanted to be a certain level with the syndicate, but I still needed to go into their backline and get some data, it made me think about how I was going to do that. If it was the Hutts, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but I hate them. I'm just going to go in guns blasting because I really don't care if they hate me or not. But with the Pikes, who I love and I want to stay really, really good with them, and I have to go on their compound, I'm going to go ahead and sneak. And that is the better way to do it because then you're going to stay better with the syndicates. And while I'm on the topic of syndicates, because I feel like I've really said all that I need to say about K-Bess. She's great. I love her. If you have a problem with her, I mean, I don't know, get good. I don't know. She's a good character. Not an Iden Versio. For some reason, people were comparing the two, and I was like, hey, these are two different characters. Comparing her to Han Solo, I do prefer Han Solo, but I think Kay Vess is like a good secondary. Again, don't compare to characters; they're so different. I think she's just a good character on her own. Let's talk about the syndicates, because man, I was all in there. I only know a little bit of things about syndicates, mainly from Solo, which is why I was a fan of Crimson Dawn, but I also loved the Pikes in Book of Boba Fett, and the Pikes were in Solo as well. And I really liked that. Now, granted, I know the Pikes are not good people, and I didn't like what they did in Boba Fett, but it's, for me, what I posted on my Twitter, it's character design. It's evil fish people. I mean, that's so freaking cool. Like, how are you going to go against that? So, loved the Pikes, Crimson Dawn. We get the Ashiga clan, which I've not heard of them before. I didn't really do much research on them. I still have to kind of do that if I had heard from them before. But they were still really cool. I feel like your main ones were the Hutts, the Pikes, and the Crimson Dawn. I feel like Ashiga was kind of just thrown in there as a fourth option to kind of rival Crimson Dawn. But I feel like Crimson Dawn rivals Pikes as well. And then Hutts kind of rivals Pikes. So overall, loved it. Seeing Kira and Crimson Dawn again. This game was kind of like a Solo 2 for a lot of us. We got so much Solo content with Kira, with Lando coming in, and that was great to see as well. With the Pikes, I really, really, I don't know, man. I just love the Pikes. I am currently excellent with the Pikes. I am excellent with Crimson Dawn. I hate the Hutts. I am poor with, no, I'm not even poor. I'm thinking I'm bad, actually, with the Hutts. And Ashiga clan, I am good. With the Hutts, they actually took Nyx from me, and I was not a big fan of that. You took my child, and anyway, I ended up blasting. Moving on with the Hutts, I guess let's talk about planets. I think that's another big aspect of this game. You get in total 4 planets. You have Kijimi, which of course we saw in The Rise of Skywalker. That was kind of big for sequel fans to kind of finally see Kijimi. Again, I haven't played much on Kijimi, other than the story, of course. So I'm hoping to kind of also explore a bit of that. We shall see. You have Tatooine, which just people move on from Tatooine. It's just stop. If you really wanted a desert planet, give us Pisana. Pisana would have been so freaking cool. Or even Jakku or something else. I'm just so over Tatooine. I'm sorry. I know you needed to have Jabba's palace, which I do think is why they put Tatooine in there, but y'all, just move on. It's okay. Let it go. Just let it go. It's okay. I do think they did Tatooine very well. And you have the Genlong Wastelands. You have, I think Baker's Canyon is on there, maybe. You get to see Tusken Raiders, Jawas. It's put together with so much love, not just like, let's just throw Tatooine in there. There's a lot of cool things, and it is a huge map. That is also another thing, too. The maps are absolutely huge. I am shocked at how much they can put into one file, I guess. And each map has so many different passageways that you can go, and it's it's incredible. I'm honestly shocked of how much they put into these maps. You have Akiva, which is a newer planet that I've personally not heard of. It's kind of like a rebel outpost, but it's really, really bright and colorful. So after visiting Tatooine for a bit and then going to Akiva, I was like, oh my gosh, I was kind of tripping. It was a lot for me to kind of stomach. Then you have, of course, the moon Tashara, which was actually my favorite planet. It's the first planet you go to after Cantobite, or Cantonica, I'm sorry. And for me, that really, really kind of sold it to me. Tashara is more of like an orange planet, but it's got amazing rocks, it's got a lot of caves. It's just fun to explore. Again, I was big on the pikes, so it was the first kind of planet that I really, really, really explored, and that made it fun for me. And of course, again, Cantonica, which was good. I thought I haven't really explored much of Kanto as well. It's kind of like your story hub. There's not much for you to go do on Kanto. Quite honestly, I would say Toshara is an amazing place to start. Then move on to Kajimi, Tatooine, Akiva. Kind of the, I guess, pathway that the game kind of tells you to go. But you could choose wherever you want to go at any given time. Toshara, you do have to get a hyperdrive, right? So you can travel, but after that, you're set to go to any planet and kind of explore. So I like that opportunity of being able to really create your own story. And yeah, you don't really have to do the story much of all. I was kind of forced into continuing the story on Tatooine after, going on the ship. So I couldn't really leave, but, it wasn't a big deal. And even before ending the game, because really the end game is probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours long. Or at least that's how long it took me. And it's all one mission. So it will ask you before you go on this final mission to complete the story, do you have anything here that you want to take care of? So definitely make sure that you have time, like 2 hours out of your day, to sit down and actually finish the game, because I had to pause it in the middle and that definitely ruined my experience. It wasn't, really my fault, but just make sure that you have enough time to work on it. So the planets are amazing, syndicates, characters. Let's get on to story, which I've already kind of talked about. But K-Fish just can't catch a break, bro. Like, she is just backstabbed by every single person. Granted, Slero, which is our big bad for the main majority of the game, is cool. He's really, really cool. I actually did not like him going into it. He kind of just seemed like an overconfident syndicate master, and I was like, okay. And then later he gets revealed to be actually an ISB commandant. I think that's what he is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, he's like high up there in the ISB. So him using that to his advantage, to where if anyone crosses him, they're screwed by the Empire. And I thought that was really, really interesting. And we don't learn that till basically the last portion of the game. You really don't kind of sit with that information for too long. I do think that probably wasn't the best choice. I would have liked to kind of think, oh my gosh, wait, Slero is ISB, and kind of fester on that a little bit more. Because he is, again, posed this entire game as this crime lord. And I'm just like, no, like ISB is so much cooler. Like show us that. we meet Jalen Vrax, which takes a liking to Kay and wants her to basically pull off this mission. Immediately, I did not trust him. I knew, okay, the story's got to progress some way. He's going to betray her. You know, let's see how it is. He talked about his family a little bit, and then I thought, ooh, I wonder if he's connected to Slero. And lo and behold, they are brothers. I was not shocked at all. I guess that is kind of a downside to this game, to where the story beats were very, very predictive. And not that that's a bad thing. I do think the story was still really good, but normally I'm a little dumb because I get shocked at like the dumbest things ever, to where I'm like, oh my gosh, whoa, I didn't even realize that. But even with this game, I was like, okay, no, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. And that might just be how game, kind of story works, is you have to have A kind of impact B for it to continue on. You know what I mean? Um, there has to be progression in that sense. So overall, I thought it was good. Zero ends up dying pretty quickly after that, after we learn he's ISB. And then, of course, Jalen does not die till the end and is killed, which is great. Let's talk about who shows up in the story, because I have a couple of thoughts about that too, and then we'll go ahead and end out the video. So, cameos. Who are the biggest cameos? Of course, this game takes place in the middle of, well, Empire Strikes Back just happened, basically. So it's between Empire and Return of the Jedi, which I think is peak time to tell a story. I was so glad it wasn't before the rebellion, because that's what Andor is for. Thank you. I want Andor to kind of stay in its own territory. And I'm happy that it does seem like we're nearing the end, right, of the Empire's reign. So, or even in the Empire's prime, I should rephrase that. So seeing that was good. Of course, we get introduced to Lando. Lando's not too crazy. A big thing in this game is playing sabacc and betting and, kind of high rollers, basically, which is exactly what the mission is called, in the sense of you kind of gain status if you continue on betting and getting wins, which I think is really cool. I have fallen in love with sabacc since this game, and unfortunately Galaxy's Edge was sold out of the official sabacc game, so I'm hoping that it will be there in a couple weeks when I go back, hopefully, maybe, I don't know. So Lando shows up. We actually we have to get a coin for him, which has information from Crimson Dawn. Now, Kay mentions Kira, because of course she has met with Kira. She thinks that Lando's kind of vying for information from Kira specifically, and Kay says that, and he says, no, I'm not talking about Kira, and then just continues on. So, being a Solo fan, I'm like, no, Lando, you know who Kira is. Like, what is the vibe there? Like, I wanted to get a little bit more information on Lando's thoughts on Kira running Crimson Dawn. And if Lando knows, Han has to know too. Han's stupid, but he's not stupid enough to, like, not keep tabs on where Kira is. So does he just know that information and have to, like, suck it up? Like, does Leia know that Han's ex was, like, the leader of Crimson Dawn? Like, what? There's so many things to talk about. Granted, I don't know if that's been talked about in a comic, and I could be wrong in saying I don't think it has. But can you just imagine the drama? Like, I want to see my two babes fight. Like, get me Leia versus Kira. Please. Thank you. Not fighting over Han, just fighting in general. Because I feel like Leia would have some words for Kira, and Kira would have some words for the rebellion leader Leia. So I just want to see that. Kick Han out of the out of the narrative. Just have my two ladies kind of be there and talk. So I wanted more with that, but I do think that Lando being there made sense for the story, so it wasn't just shoehorned in. When you're in Jabba's palace, there's a vent, and you get to see Boba Fett going over schematics. Now, Boba Fett is one of my favorite characters. I don't know why. I loved Book of Boba Fett, and I think that kind of started it off for me. Tamara Morrison is an amazing actor, and I love everything that he's done for the clones, but especially Boba Fett, because that feels like his character, as well as I love Fennec Shang, and he saved my girl Fennec, so, I gotta owe him somehow. So you get to see him in event, and that was all you see of him. I was actually hoping we got to see more of him. I was hoping he was going to be someone to show us the ropes or something. Again, this was just me kind of fanning over who Boba Fett was. So I'm kind of glad that they gave Boba Fett a bit to breathe, because of course he was in Jedi Survivor, and even then, like, that clip is not bad, and I do think it makes sense, but I'm also like, does Boba Fett need to be here? I don't know if he needs to be here. But in this game it made sense, because you're in Jabba's palace. I was expecting Boba Fett, so that was a great one as well. And the last one, I had vibes. I was like, I kept thinking of the Jedi games, and I was like, Darth Vader shows up in both of those. How crazy would it be if he showed up in this one? But I don't know how. There's no way that he would go after Kay Vess. Like, she's no offense, Kay Vess, I love you, my girl, but you're nothing. Like, but not to me. No, she's literally nothing, though. Like, why would Vader go after her? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm watching the cutscene of Slero in his Imperial uniform with, his cape, and he's looking at the glass and stuff, and I'm waiting. And Kay's mother, Rico, says there's some high official Imperial here to meet with Slero. This is not part of the plan. So I'm thinking, okay, Tarkin then. I wonder if Tarkin's gonna meet with him. I don't know why I thought Krennic. Krennic really wouldn't have anything to do with it. Maybe another Imperial that we really hadn't seen before. Race alone. Like, I was really open to, like, I wonder who it's gonna be. I'm thinking it's gonna be an Imperial. And then I hear the frickin' breathing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I was so happy and so angry at the same time. I don't know what to call it. I was so pissed. I was like, in a funny way. Like, I was like, they're actually doing this. This is a serious thing. He comes in and is like, you have not gotten the rebels. You've been failing. And Slera's like, I have done everything for you. And Vader kind of like lays down some facts of like, you're nothing. You have failed at your job and you're terrible. And I'm like, okay, Vader, let's calm down a bit. Like, that's a little much. And he says the Emperor is done waiting for your games. And Slero's gonna like talk back to the Sith Lord, and Vader breaks the glass and like puts all the shards surrounding Slero. It was a cool scene, but I'm also like, what the hell is going on? What are we doing here? Why is Vader here? Like, Slero doesn't seem like that important. Maybe I missed something to where he was like literally the head of the ISB. I didn't get that vibe though. I didn't think he was. Especially because we don't see him on Coruscant talking with the other command, or really see him do much of anything in the ISB. He kind of just seems like a crime syndicate lord. Maybe Palpatine thought, okay, wait, I need to watch these crime syndicates to make sure they don't, go against the Empire at all. So maybe it'd be better if we align ourselves with one of them that's going to try to control all of them. But Palpatine, my God, you got to stop making deals with people because this was just rough. Um, so Vader leaves, and Kay sees all of this. She is like, what did I just witness? Who is this, you know, guy in a mask with a cape? What is happening? And then, of course, he shows up at the end when Jalen comes to betray Slero and basically take over the Zarek Besh, which is the syndicate that Slero runs. And Vader is there and saying, yep, no, Jalen got me the rebel, so that's all I needed. Anyway, see ya, bye. And then he goes off of the holo projector. And I'm just like, was that needed? Let's like really think about that for a second. Did we need Vader? I'm gonna go ahead and say no. I think Tarkin would have had actually a bigger presence with that. I have always loved Tarkin, even though he's a terrible person. But I've always loved Tarkin. Again, though, I am just thinking he wouldn't be alive. He died on the Death Star. So let's get Rey Salone in there. Let's get a couple other Imperials. If you did put in the comments that Tarkin's dead, I'm sorry. You should have just waited 5 minutes for me to come to that realization. So Tarkin could have been in there because of the time period, but Salone could have. Or, oh my god, imagine if we saw Salone. I would actually lose my goddamn mind. I would probably be more excited than seeing Vader. Like, literally my reaction to Vader was like, oh, okay, we're doing this? Okay. And my reaction to Salone would be like, oh my god, Rey Salone. I would have lost my damn mind. So, again, I really don't feel like it was needed. I do feel like this one was a little much like, well, you paid $70. Like, here's some Darth Vader for ya fanboys just to, scratch that itch of seeing your Dark Lord for the 80th time. I'm not a Darth Vader hater. Again, I'm not angry that I saw him. I would have loved seeing Maul, especially because, I mean, what? He's still part of the Crimson Dawn, right? That's still a thing, right? Someone tell me if I'm wrong. So I just felt like there were so many better options, and I feel like Darth Vader was kind of just shoehorned in as like, no, we need this like imposing force to be like the bigger villain, just like Slero. So like, yeah, let's just like throw Darth Vader in. But we have Maul and we have Salone, and no, like people are gonna like love Vader way more. So like, let's just throw him in. I don't know, guys. I'm salty. I'm sorry. I was just like, I even called it in my head, and I'm kind of mad that I did. I shouldn't have thought anything. I should have just been like, oh, okay, nope, Vader's not gonna show up. It is what it is. So that was really the only thing. Everything else was great about the game. I really enjoyed my time playing it. These characters I've fallen in love with. Again, Nyx, Slero, Rico, Asara, Kay, Gadeek. I love Gadeek. Jalen, Vale. I love my girl Vale. Ink, and ND5, which I think ND5 is my new favorite. Probably Droid. So, Disney, if that tells you anything, make some Star Wars Outlaws toys and products because I will buy them. So let me know if you guys have already played the game because I haven't really talked to many people about Star Wars Outlaws that have played it. So let me know your thoughts, and if you haven't already bought the game, if you're thinking about it, or again, wait till Black Friday, wait till Christmas, because I don't know how those prices will go down, but I'm pretty sure they will. So anyway, y'all, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you